Hello, everybody. Hello, Forgiven. How are you? Hey, Shop LCA. I don't know why that's so difficult for me. Hey, Tiffany, how are you? All right. Y'all let me know if y'all can hear me really well. Let me know if y'all can hear me really well. Okay, I'm doing good. Happy Monday to you. All right. I am doing good. I am doing good, Forgiven. Thank you so much for joining in. I appreciate you as we're talking about okay, good. You can hear me good. Good. All right. I'm trying something new here, this little concoction in the office. So I wanted to make sure that you guys can hear me. I'm actually, yeah, well, let me tell you a whole story, girl. So Tuesday through Saturday is actually 12 midnight. And then on Mondays, I'm kind of flexible with my time. But I think on Mondays, because, Mondays, people have already had a rough day. I don't want to keep them up until like 12 o'clock to come see me. So I'm thinking that 8 o'clock ish is around a happy medium for me. That's what time I came on last Monday as well. Hey, driver, thank you so much for joining in. So if it becomes a time in here, guys, where you cannot hear me, please let me know. Please, 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 please let me know. Like I said, I got you guys on Periscope, and then I have YouTube. So I just want to make sure. Hey, Alex, thank you so much for joining in. I appreciate you. So if you see me looking off, I'm just trying to make sure that I give eye contact to both screens tonight. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you all for joining me. I know that this is kind of early for a Monday, but I still wanted to chime in and talk to you guys. Tonight, we're talking about 5 ways to avoid being bullied. 5 ways to avoid being bullied. Now, I already know what you're thinking. So before I go into this, I want to go ahead and introduce myself because sometimes I forget to introduce myself, and I want you guys to know who I am. So, my name is Lynette Kincaid, and I am the founder of Women with Gifts. Women with Gifts is a nonprofit organization that started by women for women, and we are changing the world one woman at a time. Now, if you're watching and you've watched our previous episodes, I need you to do me a huge, huge, huge favor. As you come on, I need you to share this. I need you to share this on Twitter. I need you to share this on Facebook. But I definitely need you to share this, and invite your followers. I don't really care if you have 1 or 2 followers. Invite them, okay? This may be something that they're able to use. So make sure that you're inviting your followers, and also make sure that you're sharing this on Twitter. Thank you for inviting your followers. I appreciate you. You're amazing. All right. So, thank you so much for sharing on Twitter. I love you guys. You guys are the best. All right. So, again, my name is Lynette Kincaid. I am the founder of Women with Gifts. Women with Gifts is a nonprofit organization that started by women for women, and we are using our platform to change the world one woman at a time. Wouldn't that be amazing, guys? Just to change one mind, one woman. I think that would be phenomenal. I always think of when I'm thinking about changing the world one woman at a time, I always think about our family reunions. Sometimes, people have brought the worst people to our family reunions. And I'm thinking, even if we can change, that's that one person, that one wrong person that comes to the family reunion, that one wrong person that comes to funerals. That would be amazing for us. Anywho, that's my thought process. So we're talking about 5 ways to avoid being bullied. 5 ways to avoid being bullied. Now I know that some of you guys are looking and you're like, I'm an adult. I'm not going to be bullied. Wrong. Okay. We're bullied in some facet every single day and we don't even know it. Okay. Um, and that's the funny thing about it. That's the funny thing about it. We are bullied every single day and we don't even know it. I don't know why. Hold on, guys. All right. Hold on. All right. Okay. Can you guys still see me? All right. Cool. All right. So I know that you're thinking that, you know what? I'm an adult. I'm not being bullied. But again, in some facet, you're being bullied. You just don't know it. In some ways, you don't even know that you're being bullied. And so this is why we're having this conversation. Guys, don't look in the back of me. And some of this stuff I need to clean up back there. But I want you guys to think of it from a standpoint of us being bullied every single day. A lot of times, hey 982, thank you so much for joining in. I appreciate you. A lot of times we are being bullied on our jobs, in the workplace. I mean, just any time that you go into different environments, sometimes you're being bullied. You can be bullied at church. I mean, just wherever you go, you're being bullied. Even online, I'm bullied all the time when I come online. But here's ways that we're talking about today. And you know, I have my favorite little pink book that I take around with me every day. Um, 5 ways to avoid being bullied. 5 ways to avoid being bullied. Again, a lot of us do not know that we're being bullied. I want to talk about 2 instances, because we try to block out in our mind when we're being bullied as an adult. Why? Because we have, each one of us, okay? I don't care if you could fight, I don't care if you could stick up for yourself as a kid, it doesn't matter. At some point, each of us have this memory in our mind of us being bullied by somebody. Okay. And as adult, what we do, we try to block that out of our minds. Okay. So when people mention bully, we kind of clam up a little bit because we're like, okay, we're adults. We're not going to be bullied anymore. Okay. But I'm just trying to point these things out for you guys so you don't go back to your childhood. I mentioned 2 things that happened to me as a kid. And listen, it didn't matter that I could fight. I was still being bullied. Okay. So one thing was, I'll talk about Najina first, because Najina was my friend. At least that's what I thought in elementary school. I know I'm going way back, guys, but I want to because I want you guys to get this. So I'll talk about Najina. Hey, Tori, thank you so much for Tony. Excuse me. Thank you so much for joining in. I appreciate you. So I'll talk about Najina. I was actually bullied in elementary school by Najina. How? Because Najina was supposed to be my friend, but every day she would take my lunch. Every day. Hey, Nancy, thank you so much for joining in. Do me a favor and invite your followers and also share this on Twitter. All right. So I'll talk about Najina. Thank you so much for the hearts. They're beautiful. I'll talk about Najina because she used to take my lunch. That was like my first. Thank you so much for inviting your followers. I appreciate you. Um, but I'll talk about that instance first because that was my first experience with being bullied. Okay. And because she was my friend, I didn't consider it as being bullied. I just, whatever she wanted out of my lunch every day, that's pretty much what I gave her. But every single day for lunch, hey, Minded, thank you so much for joining in. Every single day, every morning, she would hit me up and just take whatever she wanted out of my lunch, and I allowed it. And I pretty much allowed it only because I assumed that that was my friend, but I was literally being bullied. Okay. It takes for you to grow up and realize that, oh, that's what that was. That really happened to me. Yes, that really happened to me. Another situation. Okay, so Najina's situation that actually happened to me probably in the first and second grade, and then when I get to the fifth grade, I have this guy Eddie, which I talked about in one of my books. In the fifth grade, he bullied me for everything. Okay. He took my lunch money. He chased me home every day. Hey, Smoke. And I allowed it. Okay. I allowed it. Okay. But here's the thing that I want to explain to you guys. Just because you're not a kid anymore, it doesn't mean that the bullying stops just because you're not a kid anymore. It still continues, guys, in some shape, form, or fashion. You're still being bullied. Okay. So 5 ways to avoid being bullied. I just wanted to share that with you guys because we think that the bullying that happens to us in our childhood, we're like, oh, we're adults, we're over it. But in our mind, it hurts us. Okay. Even when it happens to us as an adult, it triggers something that happened back then. Okay, I won't get into all of that. That's a mental thing. But I just want to let you know that those memories are still there and they still are triggered. So when you wonder, oh my goodness, why am I so upset about this situation? oh my goodness, why is this bothering me so bad? It's because that person has triggered something in you that is a memory, or maybe something bad has happened to you, but it's still there. So it's still being triggered. All right. 5 ways to avoid being bullied. 5 ways to avoid being bullied. Hey, Mayor Scott, thank you so much for joining in. I appreciate you. I would love to see a few hearts popping up on my screen right now. But here's what I want to let you know. Uh, know your strengths. Number one, thank you. They're beautiful. Number one, know your strengths and your weaknesses. Know your strengths and your weaknesses. Don't downplay your strengths, guys. When you are dealing with bullies, okay, they're everywhere. Okay, it's like a scary movie. They're everywhere. Okay, they're everywhere. So when you are faced with the bullies, know your strengths and your weaknesses. Okay. If you know that, you know what, I can't really handle this, then move away from the situation, but know your strengths. Okay. Don't downplay your strengths. In these type of situations, you have to stand up for yourself and you have to know your strengths. Okay. Number two, recognize your aggressor. Who is it? Is your boss? Is it your manager? Is it your supervisor? Is it your coworker? Know your aggressor. Have you ever heard these people when, like, it used to be something that they used to do way back in the day? They used to always tell you, if you worked in like a grocery store, if you worked in like a department store, they would always tell you, hey, approach the person that you think is stealing, right? They would tell you that. This is no different. Okay, so we're using the department store approach or the grocery store approach. Approach your aggressor. Okay, approach your aggressor. Hey, Dot, thank you so much for joining in. I appreciate you. So number two, how do you avoid being bullied? Number two, recognize your aggressor. Recognize your aggressor. Once you realize that you're being bullied in a situation, once you realize that you're being bullied, you need, depending on the situation or the environment, you need to call them out on it. You can let them know, especially if it's the supervisor, especially if it's your manager, someone of the management team, and you feel that you're being bullied. Approach them on it. Okay, call them out on it. It's okay to say, you know what, I notice how you asked me to do a task and I feel bullied. That's not how you wanted it to go across, right? You have to talk to your superiors like that because you want them to know that you're being bullied. Okay. And bullying in the workplace is not cool. Is not cool. And I'll tell you about how to take care of that situation in just a second. But the first thing is you want to recognize your aggressor. You want to approach and recognize your aggressor. Now, on the flip side, if you're in a grocery store or if you're in like some other capacity and you're by yourself, this is not the time that you want to start approaching people. Times have changed. We used to be able to say, you know what, hey, excuse me, I was in line first. Or, hey, you used to be able to approach people like that and they're like, oh, excuse me, forgive me. We're living in a society where people are ready to pop off. Okay. So you just use your common judgment, your common sense. Okay. Recognize your aggressor. Depending on the situation or the environment, call them out on it, guys. You're welcome to also comment on this situation because this is real life stuff, guys. It's happening to grown people, adults. Okay. So you're welcome to comment. I would love to see some comments on the screen. Number three, avoidance. Avoidance. Avoid the person or the situation altogether. If you can't handle approaching your aggressor, saying something to your aggressor, then avoid them altogether. Don't even worry about it. It's not even worth it. It's not even worth it. The reason why you want to avoid them altogether, avoid the situation altogether, depending on where you are, because one, you want to keep your happy place. Okay. You don't want to make your whole environment, especially if it's at work, you don't want to make the whole environment to where, oh my goodness, I can't handle this. I don't want to go to work anymore. You're petrified to go to work because you don't want to have to face this person that you're going to work with. Okay. Keep your happy place and avoid them altogether. Here's what I always say in the workplace: the people that we worry about, the people that we think is a key piece to what we do. Hey, welcome to Periscope. The people that we feel is like a big component of our lives and what we do, they don't even matter. Okay. What you fail to realize is we will spend 24 hours a day, 7 days a week worried about one person, and that person is replaceable. Okay. That person is replaceable. When you think that they're not, they are. Okay. They are replaceable. So, like I said, protect your happy space, protect your energy. They're not worth it. Don't worry about, oh my goodness, I'm scared to go to work. I'm scared to do this. Just avoid them altogether. It's not even worth it. Um, Number three. Here's another thing that I want you to understand. Don't allow the person that's bullying you to change you. I'll say that again. Don't allow the person that's bullying you to change you. Um, it happens as quick as someone can give you a shot, okay? As quick as someone, like if you go to the doctor and someone gives you a shot, it can happen just that quick, okay? Of your personality changing. And you won't even recognize it until someone say, "Babe, is something okay? Is everything okay? Like, did you have a bad day at work? Did you have a bad day at church? Like, what happened? The reason why you have this personality." You don't even realize that this person has infused you with their bullying spirit. You wouldn't even realize it until someone else calls you out on it. Okay. Don't allow this person to change you. Keep your happy place, protect your energy. Don't allow the person to change you. So true. Just be yourself. Yes. Yes. Just be yourself. But a lot of times, even when you're being yourself, Miss Scott or Mr. Scott, I'm sorry, um, a person can still change you. It's all about the association brings about what is it? Association brings about assimilation. Okay, you can start acting just like the people that you're hanging around. In this instance, of course, you're not hanging around the bully, and you could be because you don't recognize that that's who they are. Okay, um, I want you guys to start listening to your inner self. Okay. When you have that gut feeling is trying to tell you something. It's trying to tell you something, but you're the only one that's not listening. So I say that because of this. Okay. Hey, Insurance King. I say that because it happens so quick to where you're being treated a certain way and then you come home and you treat other people the way you've been treated. Okay, it's normal. It's just a real reaction that happens, and that's why I say do not allow those type of people to change who you are. Number four, don't give in. Okay, don't give in. Stand your ground. Okay, this is how bullying work. This is how bullies work. Okay, bullies are just as scared as you are. They're not, and it's not to say that it's so much as fear. It's the fact that the main thing is they're just looking for someone to give in to them. They have no power and they realize that they don't have power. Now, in my opinion, now this is just my strong opinion. Agree with it if you like. But I feel like the bully have been bullied for so long. Okay. And it started maybe in high school, maybe in elementary school, and it just continued. And so at some point, when they get a role to where they're now in a position to bully people, I think that's where it starts. Okay. And so many of us, we still take the role on like, oh my God, I'm being bullied. So we run the other way. Number four, don't give in, stand your ground. Thank you so much for the hearts. I appreciate you. Be bold, which sometimes cause the bully to find another victim. When you show that you're bold and you're not scared, and you're able to call them out on being bullied in the workplace or any other situation, they will go and find their next victim that they can take advantage of because that's what they do. Okay. but you have to be strong enough to say no. This may have happened to me in the fifth grade, in the second grade, but it ain't happening today. Okay. You have to be strong enough to, yeah, I agree, stay strong, stay bold. And just remember that you have just as much right to be where you are, just like the bully. Okay. Don't allow the bully to scare you, use the scare tactics. Okay. If you say, you know what, I'm going to this place, be there. Okay. If you're going, hey, I'm going to the Christmas party. Yes, the grown bully are getting even with all who bullied them over the years. Okay, so basically, you agree with what I said. Basically, you're saying that the people that are adults as bullies, they basically have been bullied for so long, and now they're taking control of being bullied. So thank you so much for agreeing with that. But number four, don't give in, stand your ground, be bold, which will cause the bully to just go somewhere else, go to the next victim. Okay. But you have to stand your ground and you have to acknowledge them and let them know that they're being bullied. Now I'm right now I'm talking about the workplace because that's the most common place that it happens. The other thing that I want you to understand that bullying can also come from family members. Who knew, right? Who knew that you were living in a household with a bully? Bully comes in all shapes and forms. Okay, so sometimes it does happen in the home where you're being bullied inside of your own home. Call that bully out. Okay, even if it is your husband, even if it is your wife, even if it is one of your children. Okay, because as children, they're learning. So true. Criminals and bullies look for victims. That's absolutely true. Um, Even in the home, people are being bullied in the home and not even know it. They don't even recognize it. You have to start calling out that bully. You don't have to say, "Hey, you're a bully." Yes, bullies can be passive aggressive. Yes, they can be passive aggressive, but you don't have to call them out and be like, "You're a bully." You just let them know. I feel like I'm being bullied. You didn't mean for me to feel bullied, did you? You have to start calling people out when, even family members, even if it is a family member. Okay. A lot of times we allow family members to bully us because you're like, oh, well, this is just sweet Aunt Sally. She's not really bullying me. Yes, she is. And you have to put those people back in their place. Even if it is an aunt, it could be your mom, it could be, whatever, uncle, dad, whatever. If they're bullying you and it makes you feel uncomfortable, you have to call them out on it. Because that's the ultimate thing. The ultimate thing is if this felt good to you, it wouldn't even matter. We wouldn't even have this conversation. But the reason why we're talking about bullying is because of the way it makes you feel. Okay. It's not a good feeling. It doesn't make you feel good. Okay. And that's the reason why we're talking about 5 ways to avoid being bullied. Okay. We're talking about that because of the way it makes you feel. Start listening to that inner gut feeling. Okay. Start listening to that feeling. Anything that makes you feel uncomfortable, anything that gives you anxieties, it's not cool. It's not right. It's something off with it. And so you have to determine what about this situation that I'm in right now is making me feel uncomfortable. Okay. You have to ask yourself that question. Okay. A lot of times we don't want to acknowledge the gut feeling. Okay. We just want to keep moving. Oh, it'll go away. It's just maybe something I ate today. No, it's not. Okay. If you have that gut feeling, acknowledge it, find out where it's coming from, and deal with it. Deal with it head on. That's how you deal with these type of issues, head on. Okay. Number five, don't go into a shell. That's what we normally do. Thank y'all so much for the hearts. They look beautiful. Nancy, are you still there? Because you normally give me hearts too. Um, Nestle's probably with her. She's probably listening and washing dishes somewhere. I still appreciate you for being here, my little Jersey girl. I love you. Okay, so don't go into a shell. Number five, 5 ways to avoid being bullied. Five, don't go into a shell. Use your resources, especially if you're at work. Especially, if you're at work, The main thing that you do is tell, tell, tell. A lot of people are like, oh my God, I'm an adult. I still have to tell. Uh-huh, you do. That's what human resources is for. And if you don't trust your human resources department, then guess what? It's outside workforces to be able to assist you as well. Remember that any situation that you're dealing with, it's always a government entity there to assist you. So they do have, when you've been treated unfairly or you feel that you've been treated unfairly, no one can retaliate against you just because you tell how you feel. Hey, Paul. So no one can retaliate against you just because if you make a complaint, if you make a formal complaint. Okay. So in the workplace, go to HR. Okay. Outside of the workplace, call the police. Okay. This sounds very, very silly. But my daughter was being bullied. And I told her, look, tell this person if they touch you, that's an assault, and I'm calling the police. I know that sounds really crazy as a mom, but you have to let people know that they can't just put their hands on you. I don't care how they feel. They cannot put their hands on you. This is even in school. You have to teach your kids. If you have a teenage child, elementary kid, high school, regardless, okay? Because the bullying just literally does not stop. It's ongoing, guys, especially in the school system. So if you have a child that's still in school, you let them know, hey, let them know. You give them one warning. I'm not going to fight you. I don't have to fight you. But if you touch me, I'm calling the police. That's what the police is there for. And believe it or not, they can have a police report based on my child hitting your child or your child hitting my child. That is an assault. You have to teach your children that early because guess what? It used to be where I know in Texas it says, you know what? Hey, Light, thank you so much for joining in. I appreciate you. I know in Texas it was like, okay, at the age of 17, you're an adult. Okay, then you have a 12-year-old or 11-year-old that, kill people. And then they say, okay, now you can be 9 years old and go to jail. Okay, so the age limit for what you do is actually going lower and lower. Okay, I think the latest that I've seen, the youngest that I've seen go to prison, actually go to prison. I think that was like 9 years old. You can Google it. It's all out there on Google as well. But let your kids know. Look, if they're the bully, you let them know. Keep your hands to yourself. Okay. If they are being bullied, you let them know to let someone else know. Hey, I'm not going to be bullied by you, but if you touch me, I'm calling the police. And let the superiors know. Let the principals know. You go up to the school one time and you say, listen, if this child touches my child, it's no longer in your hands. I am now going to call the police. Okay. And once you put the threat like that on the school system, then trust me, they will put other things in place in order for your child to not continue to be bullied. We have to, these are our children and we don't send them to school to be bullied, guys. We just don't. Okay. So put something in place in order to protect your children. You have to think about how, if it made you feel weird when you were in school, just know that it's like 3 times worse, 10 times worse now. Okay. Just keep that in mind, especially if you're a parent of a teen or an elementary school person. All right. So let's go over this again. Thank you, Nancy. You're beautiful. All right. So 5 ways to avoid being bullied. 5 ways to avoid being bullied. Okay. One, know your strengths and your weaknesses. Okay. Know your strengths and your weaknesses. Some people have to play everything out in their mind. When things happen to them, they play things out in their minds. So know your strengths and your weaknesses in order to tackle this situation. Because ultimately, it can be a one-time situation or it can be a multi-time situation, but you have to know your strengths and your weaknesses to know how you're going to handle it. Okay. You can't just ball up and die anymore. Okay. You have to be bold. You have to take ownership of what's happening to you. Number 2, recognize your aggressor, especially if it's in the workplace, especially if it's a manager, especially if it's your supervisor. You may want to document every type of situation. One, Again, recognize the aggression, recognize your aggressor, and then you let them know, hey, I noticed when you asked me to do something, I felt bullied. Or, if they are hanging your job status over your head, that is a way of bullying. Okay. They can't do that. Okay. If you're a bad employee, they need to do the steps to get you out the door, but that's not one of them. Bullying is not one way to get you out the door. Okay. So you have to take the proper protocol in order to fire me if you feel that I'm not doing my job. But what you're not going to do is you're not going to bully me. Okay. So you have to recognize the aggressor. Keep everything, keep documenting everything, especially if you're going through this situation and this situation is in your workplace. Make sure that you're documenting everything. Okay. Make sure that you're documenting everything. Make sure that you're documenting everything. Again, that comes as one of your strengths. Okay. We can no longer fight with our mouth. Okay. We have to fight with documentation, especially when it comes to the workplace. Okay. Recognizing your aggressor. Who is it that's bullying you? Like, who is it? Okay. You need to know that. The other thing, depending on the situation or the environment, call them out on it. I don't really like how you said what you said to me, and I don't like the tone that you use. I feel bullied. That's not how you meant that, right? You can ask those type of questions to where it's not even rude and it comes across very professional. Okay. Number three, avoidance. Sometimes, depending on the level of person that you're dealing with, coworkers, guys, I don't spend too much time dealing with coworkers because coworkers come and go. Okay. But if you have a coworker on your level that's bullying you, just let them know, hey, Taproot, thank you so much for joining in. If it's a person that's a coworker, just avoid them altogether. Just avoid them altogether. Also, keep your happy place. Know your happy place. What makes you happy in the workplace? Okay. Don't let people run you off from your own job. Okay. This is your job to pay your bills. Don't allow people to run you off from your job. Okay. Know your happy place. What made you happy when you first got there? Hey, Lou, what made you happy when you first got there? Like what intrigued you to want to work there in the first place? Keep that motivation, keep that inspiration, because that's what you will need to get over this situation dealing with the bully. Okay. Protect your energy. Go to work with a great energy, come home with a great energy. What I don't need is for you guys to let this situation become so stressful that you have heart attacks on your job, you have strokes on your job. I know so many people that has happened to. And it wasn't because they were in like a bad shape or they weren't healthy. They were healthy. They went into the workplace healthy, but they let this situation bother them and get so stressful that's the only outlet. Okay. That's the only outlet. So protect your energy. Protect your energy. Okay. If you work in a stressful environment and then you have a bully, that is not good, guys. You have to figure out which one is worth your life. Okay. You have to get rid of the bully. You have to get rid of the bully. Protect your energy. Don't allow the bully to change who you are. I'll say that again. Don't allow the bully to change who you are. You have this bully at work that's really weighing on your energy, and then you come right home and you bully your kids, bully your husband or boyfriend. It's not worth it, guys. Protect your energy, protect your household's energy. Okay. Don't come home with all that foolishness. Leave it at the door. Okay. Leave it at the door of the workplace. Okay. Once you leave work, you leave work. One of the things that I do, guys, um, because I've been in several situations where I have been bullied. I talked about it in I can't remember which book, but I talked about it to where I'll say in Fort Worth, Texas, and obviously I can't say the name of the location, but I will say this: the manager that I had at the time was a bully. Okay, and he had bullied so many people out of the workplace, and it just so happens that you know everything that he would do to me, I would document it. That's number one. Number two, I started giving like little thank you cards. If he said something nice to me, which I know was kind of condescending, I would still, give him thank you cards. Thank you for saying this to me today. Thank you for saying that to me. And I done that because this was who I was. I didn't want to lose my personality based on who I was working with. Okay. Um, I even noticed the fact that when I spoke out on certain situations, then I noticed my hours were cut. Guys, that can't happen to you in the workplace, okay? If you're cutting hours because it's a shortage, that's one thing, but you can't cut my hours just because I'm bringing something to your attention and you no longer want me to bring things to your attention. You can't do that, okay? So the first thing is I acknowledged the aggressor, okay? And I said, hey, I noticed that my hours were cut. What's the reason behind that? You have the right to ask questions in the workplace. Hey, Oliver, thank you so much for joining in. You have to acknowledge the aggressor, number one, and you always have the right to continue to ask questions because most of the time, the bullying, if it's seriously a bullying issue, they're not going to have the correct answer for you. Okay. They'll just be like, oh, let me go back and give you some more hours. Okay. They will not have the correct answers for you. Okay. So that's why you want to call them out on their bullying, letting them know that whatever you done on the playground, whatever happened to you as a kid, you can't bring that into the workplace now just because you have authority in this work environment. Okay. You still have to do everything by the rules. So when you're asking questions, that kind of frightens them a little bit to be like, oh, this is not the person that I should mess with her hours or I should bully her around. It's not going to work with her. And that's exactly the response that you want from them. That's this response that you want from them. What else? What else? What else? Oh, number four, don't give in. Stand your ground. Be bold, which caused the bully to just go to someone else. When they realize they cannot get over on you, when they realize that they cannot bully you around, they will go to someone else, okay? Because that's what they do. They look for people that seem weak, okay? And if they smell weakness, it's almost like smelling blood, like a tiger smelling blood. They will go after it every single time. But when you let them know that you're standing your ground and you will not be bullied, then it will not continue to happen to you. Okay. So stand your ground. Don't give in. Be bold. Be bold. Okay. Number five, don't go into a shell. Okay. When you're bullied, don't go into a shell. That's the worst thing that you're doing. You're basically just putting a stamp on you saying, you know what? Go ahead and bully me. Okay. Don't go into a shell. Use your resources. Okay. They have resources there at mostly every workplace. It's called the Employee Assistance Program. EAP is always available for you. They are there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You also have your HR department. Okay. If you don't feel like, you don't feel comfortable going to your HR department right away, then you need to go to your government entity in order to report things that's happening to you in the workplace. If it happens outside of the workplace, then you can also report those instances to police. Okay. Use all of your resources depending on the level of bullying. If the bullying becomes talkative, if the bullying becomes more of an assault situation, that's when you would want to report that to a police. Okay. In the workplace, outside of the workplace, guys, you still have some kind of coverage. Thank you so much for the hearts. You have coverage to let you know that, someone's got your back. Okay. It's not right. It's not cool. We have to stop it. And it's not going to stop just by us going away and ignoring it. We have to, let people know we're not going to be bullied. Okay. Hey, Hammer, thank you so much for joining in. I appreciate you. Any comments? Any comments? I'm going to ask someone to come on. Nancy, you're here, so I'm going to ask you to come on. I know you got a lot to say about the workplace and bullying. So I'm going to ask you to come on. Come on, Nancy, you can do it. Come on. Come on. Okay. All right. Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello, Nancy. Thank you so much for joining in. I appreciate you. What do you think about this topic, Nancy? The 5 ways to avoid being bullied. Tell us more.